A second. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to everyone. Today is Monday, June the 1st, 2026. It is 9 a.m. This is our regularly scheduled Cosmetology and Barber Examiners Board meeting. My name is Roxana Gamusio. I am the Executive Director with the Cosmetology and Barber Examiners Board. As first order of business, I want to welcome everyone, but I'm going to go ahead and do roll call vote if that's okay with you, Chairman. And then we will switch it over to you. Members, if you could, when I call your name, press your button. We can only have 4 mics at the same time. It can go on and then off. And then I'll make sure that we do have quorum in order to proceed. Ms. Susan Arnold.
Present.
Perry Baldwin.
Present.
Bernetta Carlton.
Present.
Miss Anita Carlton is not here. Monica Lemons. Thank you. David McElreath. Marquise Martin.
Present.
Lane Petty.
Present.
Becky Russell.
Present.
Amy Tanksley.
Present.
Lori Turner. Miss Turner is not here with us today either. And Miss Tamika Turner.
Present.
Thank you. We do have quorum in order to proceed. Chairman Russell, I'll turn it over to you for a moment before we get started. Thank you, ma'am.
I'm assuming that we're saying our names before the.
That is a really good question. We're going to have official training at the next meeting that walks us through. But if we could, I think the sooner we get used to every time we're on the microphone, being able to say who we are. Everything is transcribed for ADA compliance, as we talked about at the last meeting. So the reader will not detect our voices. And so it is important, definitely on the motions, and I'll redo the motions every time to make sure that we've got them right. But if we could each time, the sooner we get used to it, I think it'll help us. Thank you.
Becky Russell, and I would like to welcome everybody to the board meeting. At the beginning of each meeting, we like to acknowledge schools. So if there are any schools present with us, please stand. And if someone from your school would like to identify your school. Welcome. Welcome. Happy to have you. Thank you for attending. Okay. Roxanne, I'll turn it back over to you and we can get started.
Thank you so much. Give me just a minute, members. You've got your, if I can get to my iPads, it'll help. Okay. The first order of business is accepting the agenda as it's been presented. It's been posted on the website. As you know, the meeting gets broadcast through WebEx. That means that members from the public can view through YouTube live, and they can also participate through WebEx. So as first order of business, I would need a motion to accept the agenda as it's been presented. It has been on the website for at least a full week. This meeting has been posted on the board's website as well and been there since June of 2025, and then updated as of May 22nd of this year, so that members would be able to see it as well.
Second, Lane Petty.
Thank you. We have a motion by David McElreath and a second by Lane Petty to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, the agenda is taken care of. The minutes were also emailed to everyone prior to the meeting. We would need a motion in order to accept the minutes as presented unless you have a revision.
Motion to accept minutes, Lane Petty.
Perry Baldwin, second.
Thank you. Mr. Baldwin, thank you. Okay. We have a motion by Lane Petty and a second by Perry Baldwin. All those in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, members. We are on to our presentations. We have 4 schools going before you today on your iPad, starting with page 3 is Love Beauty School. This is a change in location. Ms. Lyles, are you participating virtually? Thank you. I see you now. Thank you.
I was
Can-
trying so hard to get unmuted. I'm so sorry.
You're great. It's okay. We get it with technology. Thank you so much. Members, you have before you the application, floor plan, enrollment agreement, catalog, and contingency plan. This school is doing a change in location. The school is located in Manchester, Tennessee. And Chairman Russell, I'll turn it over to you.
Becky Russell for the record. Ms. Lyles, would you like to tell us a bit about your school?
Yes, ma'am. It's actually an additional location for now. So we've been in business since 2006. And as you guys are aware, we recently added the Barber program and became a barber school a few months ago. And so we need to add this additional location. I feel that it's going to be a little bit better for the Barber program. It's more specific to them. It's going to provide additional parking. We have gone in and completely remodeled the space, brand new equipment. Everything that's in there has been purchased brand new and put together. We're just excited for it. So thank you guys for having us and considering it.
Becky Russell for the record. Does this move present a hardship for the students?
No, not at all. It is 0.9 miles from this location. It's literally within walking distance. They're all pretty excited to get over there. It's just designed a little bit differently where the current beauty school, right now we're doing both Cos and Barber here. It's a little bit more salon oriented where the Barber school, the new location is definitely more like a barber shop, if that makes sense.
Ms. Lyles, can you tell me, is barbering the only thing that you're teaching at this particular location?
Yes, ma'am. At the new location, it will be specifically barbers only.
That just helped me to understand the blueprint a little bit better.
Yes, and I'm so sorry for my handwritten, not super great on designing on paper. I do a little bit better in real life.
Can you tell me a bit about your part-time hours? I couldn't figure out how they were defined in your paperwork.
Yes, ma'am. We actually have a couple different places for those in the enrollment agreement as well as the catalog. So part-time hours can vary. Students can attend, there's different schedules. So for example, if they wanted to do nights, they could do 4 to 9. If they wanted to do days, they could leave as early as 1:30. They just wouldn't take a lunch. Sometimes they'll attend Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 2:30, and they do take a lunch. So part-time hours are available. Of course, they are tracked separately because we use a time clock system along with our administrative software. But depending on each student and their specific situation, they may have kids they have to pick up, or they may have an evening job. It just varies based on what they have going on.
In your enrollment agreement, you have to have a policy about discrimination and anti-harassment. I did see one for anti-harassment, but I did not locate one for discrimination. Can you tell me if that is something that is in there?
Yes, ma'am, it definitely should be. Let me read through here and find it for you. And I know that we also have it in our handbook under our rules and regulations as well. So you said you found the harassment, but you didn't find the discrimination.
Ms. Tanksley actually found that for me, so.
Oh, thanks. Thank you so much, because I was about to read this whole thing.
Thank you so much.
Miss Tanksley, you're a blessing.
That is really nice to hear on a Monday morning.
Yes, for me as well. Bright and early with a state board meeting at 9 a.m.
I was looking for your graduation requirements. Would you say that the graduation requirements are under the heading of final exams? I didn't find one that specifically said graduation requirements, but
They're in a couple different places, and that was actually something that Miss Roxana helped guide me to fix as well. We just had to lay it out a little bit better. But yes, some of that is under the final exam. There's also a place on page 3, which is on that same page where the final exams is as well. It gives you a completion of the program date also. So it's giving you the day they have to complete by. And then under the final exams, it's telling you the hours, the clinicals, the tests. They have to pass all that in order to finish. And then, of course, they have to take the exams through PSI also.
just for clarity for the students, you may want to actually head that graduation requirements and maybe group those things together.
Sure.
Ms. Lyles, this is Amy Tanksley. Just to confirm, your programs are all in person, correct? You're not doing any apprentice programs?
No, we're not doing any apprentice programs at this time. We hope to add that in the future, but currently everything is in person. Now we are hybrid, meaning through our accreditor, we can do some of our program virtually, but everything is in person. No apprenticeships at this time.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Lyles, this is Becky Russell again. I was looking over your faculty that you have listed,
Mhm.
and several of them say that, let me see, it was a junior instructor who has completed their instructor program, but it does not say that they are licensed. Can you tell me about that? Once a junior instructor finishes the instructor's program, they must be tested and licensed. So are those folks licensed, or are they teaching as junior instructors?
So as you're aware, junior instructors can actually teach under the supervision of a licensed instructor for up to 3 years. Since this has been done, I can tell you that Miss Jennifer Stevens is licensed. This just needs to be updated for you. Miss Kaylin Corley is actually no longer with us as well. And then Miss Haley will be testing in a few months. And of course, everyone else is going to be licensed. And then Zoe is a junior instructor as well.
I guess we just need to be careful that it does not say that they have completed their junior instructor program if they are still teaching as a junior instructor, because that was a little confusing to me.
Well, our biggest thing is, and maybe you guys can help me change the wording on what you would prefer on this. I just don't want it to ever appear as if they are already holding their instructor license. If you see how we've listed everyone else, it says they hold a valid cosmetology instructor license or a valid license in the state of Tennessee. So we try to make sure that we specify there that this person has completed their program. We don't want it to ever appear as if they've already obtained that licensure when legally they can't for up to 3 years.
So I guess whenever you're writing this into your introducing the faculty, you can just list them as a junior instructor because they have not completed the program. And if they have completed the program, then they must be licensed.
Okay, so just for clarification on my part, the program is 300 hours. Once they've completed that with us, they are unable to obtain licensure as an instructor until they have already been a cosmetologist or a barber for a minimum of 3 years.
Could I interrupt? I'm so sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
So Ms. Lyles, I think you're mixing the two different paths for being an instructor. This is Roxana Gamusio. So
I
the
did-
instructor training, which is 300 hours, means they are a student at your school and they're doing the instructor training. They're doing just the curriculum and they have 6 months to finish it. If they are listed as a junior instructor, they're really not completing 300 hours. They're a minimum of 1 year to up to 3, but they're a junior instructor. They're not both. So I think to Ms. Russell's point, if you choose to have them as a junior instructor up to 3 years, nothing to do with the 300 hours, they're 3 years, then they haven't completed it. You're choosing to use them in that path as a junior instructor,
Yes, ma'am.
but you can't list that they've completed it.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. Thank you for that clarification. I'm sorry for my confusion.
Amy Tanksley, for my own clarification, if you're a junior instructor, once you've had a minimum of a year working under a licensed instructor, then you would sit for the exam?
No.
The school that's doing the training would be able to put you after a year to the exams. Yes, absolutely. That's the way the statute is written, 2 different paths. And it envisions that that would be the case because there are only 300 hours. A year is about the right time. If the school thinks they're not ready, they could keep using them as a junior instructor. The maximum would be the 3 years.
And thank you so much for clarifying that because we had been under the impression that they were required to be licensed as a cosmetologist or barber for up to 3 years. So now that I know they can do this young lady can go ahead and take her test now. She doesn't have to wait anymore.
Ms. Lyles, you're confusing a couple of the different statutes. And so just to caution, maybe go back through and read them. An individual that is going to be licensed as an instructor must be licensed in the discipline they practice for 3 years before we can give them an instructor license.
No,
That's a
okay.
separate.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
doesn't. We're mixing them together.
Yes,
So I
we
don't
are.
want anybody listening to be confused and to change the path that they're following. So that doesn't change. But if you hire someone as a junior instructor to help you with the ratio to choose that path, the minimum they can be a junior instructor is 1 year, the maximum 3, but that's separate from their personal license.
Gotcha.
Okay.
2 separate license. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. I cannot hear anybody. I'm so sorry. So if someone's talking, I'm not hearing you.
We are just looking over your paperwork. If you'll give
I'm
us just a
sorry.
moment.
Right, I was missing something. I apologize.
Board members, do you have additional questions for Ms. Lyle?
I do not. This is Amy Tanksley. I'd like to make a motion to approve the new location.
Second, Lane Betty.
We have a motion by Amy Tansley and a second by Lane Petty. We are going to proceed to approve or deny or make our motions by roll call vote. That'll again get us kind of in line with being ready for the next meeting. I apologize. It'll take a little bit longer, but we'll make sure to have everything on the record. Members, when I call your name, if you can please all make sure your buttons are red, and I think everybody's is, then I'll just need to hear that you motioned yes, and I'll make sure that everyone is in agreement, or if anyone recuses themselves, I will make note. If anyone objects and says no, that'll also happen. Ms. Susan Arnold.
Yes.
Thank you. Perry Baldwin.
Yes.
Thank you. Bernetta Carlton.
Yes.
Thank you. Monica Lemons.
Yes.
Thank you. David McElreath. Thank you. Marquise Martin.
Approve.
Lane Petty.
Approve.
Becky Russell.
Yes.
Amy Tanksley.
Yes.
And Tamika Turner.
Yes.
Thank you. Congratulations, Ms. Lyles. I believe the 2 changes that you've made note to clarify, make sure your instructor information is always accurate and the graduation requirements, and then you can send those directly to me. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
You too. Next, members, starting with page 35 on your iPads, it is BDNC Professional Services. This is also a location change, and we have Ms. Portia Bailey Brown that introduced herself here with us. You have before you the change in location. The school is located in Nashville. You have the application, floor plan, enrollment agreement, catalog, and contingency plans. I will let Ms. Portia take the stand here, and I'll be right back. You'll be ready.
This is Becky Russell for the record. Ms. Portia, welcome. Would you like
Thank
to
you.
tell us a bit about your school?
I am so proud of my school, y'all. So I will stop. Or even my dad's, because this was a family affair. So we started almost 10 years ago. My father is a master educator for several colleges. So one of the things he taught me early on was to plan strategically, which is why we're making this move. All of my students over the last 10 years, with the exception of 3, has gone to state board and passed, not scoring less than an 89. We're a boutique school. We have been able to partner with several businesses throughout Nashville, salons that have acted as mentors during the apprenticeship program as the school. But what I am very most proud of is 90% of our students are currently salon owners and are thriving, whether it's lashes, whether it's skincare. And part of that, me keeping the pulse on it, and I've been in a salon for now 14 years, is they get continuing mentorship and training through the school with us. We never have more than 4 to 5 students in a cohort. It allows us to give them personalized experience based off their learning styles, questions, be hands-on. It also allows them to build a community within each cohort. And where we currently have moved to, they have 7 locations. So if the building burns down, they have assured me we can have the identical location in other places here in Nashville. Also, the thing that I love the most is we have almost 5, maybe 7 years worth of operating costs, because the rent there is less than one of the students' tuition. And so being that we did do this as a hybrid and apprenticeship school, while we do have treatment rooms there, I just love the school. I love the thriving. I love that the girls are successful. And I can go on forever about my babies, so I'm going to stop now.
Becky Russell for the record. We love to see people that are passionate about what they do. So, and I personally love to see educators producing educators because my father's also an educator. So,
They are amazing.
so you said that this is going to be a hybrid school. Are you going to do a traditional path as well as apprenticeship, or is this only apprenticeship?
No, they have the option to do both. So what we do with our students, especially because they're such small cohorts, and as someone mentioned before, sometimes they have kids, sometimes they have work. We have group class hours, which as you see in the student handbook and the thing. I also let the students though book one-on-one class hours with me. That way for the ones who are full-time working mothers or kids or whatever their life caregivers, affords them, they're still not having to feel like they have to choose between starting this career path because they can't be there and sit through 4 to 8 hours. So they are able to schedule one-on-ones. We sit down in 1 to 2 hour sessions. They have to schedule at least 25 to 50 one-on-ones if they're not going to go do the apprenticeship program. If they do the apprenticeship program, their books are open, and that is either done with Monique Brown, which she is listed in there, or if we've partnered with a salon owner. All of the people we've partnered with have had over 10 years worth of experience, so that as they're new and learning, and I'm also very meticulous about pop-ins and observations and things like that, because I don't want to train them to do it the right way, and then they go into an apprenticeship and get deprogrammed. And so we do have a traditional path where they can just get in and use the treatment room. Also, they're able to block off the treatment room. So if they need a private study area where we are now, they have several study areas, breakout sessions, and the treatment room. The reason we do that too is the treatment room is never crowded. It's one student to one client and one instructor each time they use it. So they are in a comfortable position to ask questions and not feel like the other students are judging them or whatever. And we find that it helps them learn better and be more open with where they need help doing it that way.
While I feel like your enrollment agreement is very clear, I want to just make sure between us that you are very clear that they can't jump in back and forth between the two programs. So they enroll in one in a traditional program and they finish as a traditional student. Or if they're an apprentice student, they come to you for the theory portion. Once that's complete, they take their test and then they move on and they are with a licensed professional.
I am clear with that. I will be honest, in the almost 10 years we've been doing this with the school, I have not had I've not had a student choose the traditional path. So while we have the structure in place, in case anyone does want to do that, so far, all of our students have went the apprenticeship path, which is why I talk about it from that angle.
So when you are teaching the apprenticeship path, although I know that you have it set up to be a traditional path, you will not need to use your treatment rooms in the school if they are all apprentice students.
Correct.
As I was looking over your clock hours in weeks or months to graduate, it looks like you have added hours to the amount of time it would take to graduate. So we actually want to know if a student enrolled today and they were there 100% of the time because they are a model student, how long would it take them to graduate? So doing the calculations, it appears that your students could graduate in 8.5 months, but you have down that it would take them 12 months to graduate.
So we give them, because it's the apprenticeship, we give them 12 months so they don't feel rushed. But whenever they complete either the 750 hours or the 300 hours, that is when they graduate.
So
Should I change it?
you should have the minimum amount of
Hours
hours that it
instead
could
of time.
take. Now,
Okay.
you can, in addition, make a statement like you have up to
Mhm.
12 months, but at a minimum, if I'm a model student, how quickly can I get out of the program?
So we have that statement in the student agreement. I'll also put it here as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I was looking at your termination agreement, and it speaks of if they are terminated, what might happen, but not why they would be terminated. So you need to give them a list of conditions. If this happens, you would be terminated from the school, not if you are terminated, then you will. And I think that's kind of a little confusing. They need to know what actions that they would take that would cause their termination.
Okay, so on that note, we go through like code of conduct in the student handbook. Could I just take that code of conduct and apply it to that part?
As long as it tells them why they might be terminated,
I
it just
can get
has to
that
be
done.
on the enrollment agreement.
Okay, I can get that updated.
In your contingency plan, you have said, and you just said it a minute ago, that you've got multiple locations that you might be able to move to.
Mhm.
But you actually need to partner with an institution to take these students in case the absolute worst possible scenario happens and you can just no longer, for whatever reason, own a school or have a school. You will need a partner institution somewhere that they can go.
Okay, we've met with a couple schools. The issue we run up against is a lot of them have bundled the LASH program into other programs. And when looking at tuition and things, what we ran up against is that it don't match their model. What I've done to kind of work around that while I'm still trying to find the school is there are a couple people who we worked with in the apprenticeship program that are willing to apply for a school and take over or buy it out if that becomes necessary for any reason. But we are looking into that. We just keep running into, no, we don't offer this as a standalone. They would need to do this. And the tuition for what we offer versus what the school would want them to have, we're trying to figure out and problem solve with that one.
I will defer to Roxana and legal. Can you give some guidance on if that is what would be appropriate in this case?
And I'm happy to jump in. I know we had the conversation. I think the teach out agreement encourages and we want the school listed. I don't know that we would deny a school if they're working out an arrangement. So if the board is okay with that, given that she's stating that on the record that she's going to pursue an arrangement with another school, I think you would be okay approving it because she has backup plans. And right now, as Ms. Portia has stated, her students are all apprenticeships. So really the practical hours are being done at the shop. But as I explained to her, they're still submitting hours to the school. So the school's still ultimately responsible. So if it's okay with the board to proceed, we would make note that at the time the contingency and teach outs approved, she's still working on a name of a school, but she's actually working on that.
Becky Russell for the record. I don't have any further questions. If the board members have any questions.
Tamika Turner. My question is for your apprenticeship portion. So are you saying that the students are apprenticing, they're able to apprentice with you as well, or you're sending them out to apprenticeship
They
partners?
go out to
Okay.
apprenticeship partners.
So that 101, that's just like additional
More
learning
lecture
time.
than
Okay.
that. Yeah. And if they need a one-on-one to help with clarification as far as actual like practical, I go to the salon where they're at. So I just become additional help with the mentor or the person that they're working with. Because it's only been one occasion where the student has come to me and she's like, I'm not sure if they're following sanitation the way you taught it. And I'll be like, okay. And in that case, what I did was they know when we do the agreements that I'll observe, I'll do these things to make sure the students are getting what they should. In that case, in observance, it was a little borderline and I didn't want her to get used to those habits. So we were able to quickly find another mentor for her and do it in a way where it didn't build strife or sound like it fell on me. I was like, girl, I love you, but we can't do this.
Right.
You know what I
It's
mean?
understandable. Yeah, it's
Because I
understandable.
also am trying to teach them how to remove themselves from situations that could jeopardize their license and habits can easily be adapted. So, but yes, no, if they're in that apprenticeship path, they're working with their mentor. The one-on-one is mostly their lectures.
Mhm. And what about your virtual? I see that you have the virtual option. How
That's lecture.
just for lecture, okay.
Mhm.
And then my last question, this is a statement, as far as the contingency plan, it's more so for the students to have an option. It's not necessarily that they're gonna go there, correct?
Roxana Gamusia. So in our rules, we have that they must have a teach out plan. It's not the
Mhm.
option for the student. It's the board added it because we had so many schools closing pretty quickly
Mhm.
and leaving students without a path. And you'll
Mhm.
see one being presented for you to debate with me today as well. So that was the game plan when the teach out was introduced, to have a school that they would go to if the school completely closes.
Mhm.
That was more so. So it wouldn't be that the student would have the option. It's what happens if it closes.
Yeah, so the school that they choose for the contingency plan, for the teach out plan is an option, right? It's not necessarily like you have to go here, but they just have to have options.
The
correct?
students will always have options if the
Mhm.
school closes.
Mhm.
Hopefully, if it's done the right way, the student gets a withdraw document, they can pick the school of their choosing.
Mhm.
But if for some reason, they don't have a school near them or want some guidance, the teach out and a name of the school should be somewhere where the student sees it when they sign on and know there's a path forward, that they could count on the school.
Can I weigh in on a question with that, just
Yes.
as someone who's going, the other problem, and I understand the teach out plan, which is why like Monique Brown is one of the ones that is like, if I need to take over the school and buy it, I can. The issue I've been running up against with other schools is usually what transfers to the other school is at least 150 hours. But with the program we have, by the time the students would transfer, usually they're far along in their program. So for the school we're asking to take them in, they're not getting the same financial reward because this student may only need to be there for 20 hours or 10 hours, and then some of them, the majority of the ones I've talked to, have not been successful doing the apprenticeship. And they're like, I don't know that I want to continue them with the mentor they're with and keep them on this path. They would need to come here, switch traditional and full time. So we're trying to figure out how to meet that requirement while also making sure they don't have to start over from jump. And the issue for a lot of the schools I talk to boil down to money. They're like, it's not beneficial to us to take on these students unless they're right at that 150 hours. And then on the flip side for the students, they're like, wait, I got to go to board soon. What do you mean I got to do this all over again? And I've tried talking to them about maybe testing them out because I went to college and we both know that when you're in college, there are certain courses you could pay $300, test out the course and all of those things. But just as that rule develops, trying to figure out how to make it mutually beneficial for both schools. And that's been the largest struggle there.
Yep. And I understand. I just wanted to ask for clarity because if they are apprenticeship and they have to transfer to another apprenticeship program, correct? And I know that it's hard. We are apprenticeship school as well. But just having the options, because sometimes the students, when you don't give them an option, it does like kind of stop them where they are. So I just wanted to ask for clarity.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Becky Russell for the record. These are all hypotheticals. We hope that nothing happens. We hope that none of these things come into play. We just want to make sure that the students are taken care of. And for any school owners that are out there listening or here in this room, please be a good neighbor to other schools because this affects the abilities of those students. If something tragic happens to their school, if that were your kids, you'd want them to be able to have a place to go. So please be a good neighbor and partner with other schools, saying that just in the case that something terrible happens to your school, that we will open our arms and accept your students. And hopefully transfer those hours in and just let them complete their programs. That's helpful and beneficial to us all in the industry.
This is Amy Tanksley. I agree with you, Becky. Well said. At this point, are there changes? We've collected a few, maybe addition changes that we've captured for the record. I'd like to approve this change of location with those changes. That is my motion.
Barry Baldwin, second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Amy Tansley and a second by Perry Baldwin, and this is Roxana Gamusio. We are approving the school with the minimum, a list of the minimum hours being clarified, and then the reasons for termination brought over from the catalog, as Ms. Portia has explained, by roll call vote. Members, if you could let me know if you're in agreement. Ms. Susan Arnold,
Yes.
Perry Baldwin,
Approved.
Bernetta Carlton,
Yes.
Monica Lemons,
Yes.
David McElreath,
Approved.
Marquise Martin,
Approved.
Lane Petty,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Amy Tanksley,
Yes.
Tamika Turner.
Yes.
Members, this is approved. Congratulations, Ms.
Thank
Portia.
y'all again, because these are my babies. Y'all have a good one.
Could I say one thing?
Yes, of course.
I was wanting to acknowledge my other daughter, Casey
I'm being
Bailey
a role model
James.
to my little
And she and I own the BDMC, and Big Sister has her salon and she runs BDMC for me. And she's in training. She wanted to skip Vacation Bible School today, come here to see how this process works. So
I
thank
told
you.
him he loves me so much, he had two of me.
Thank you.
We'd like to welcome you to the board office, and we hope you've enjoyed your time here.
I love that. Thank you. Members, we're on page 61 of your iPads. This is Defining Textures Natural Hair Academy. It is a new specialty natural hair styling school. Ms. Maya Crawford is here in person to answer your questions. You have before you the application, floor plan, enrollment agreement, catalog, and contingency plan, all received timely. I will make sure that the microphone is working for her, and this school is located in Goodlettsville. You give me a minute. You're still. I wanted you to do nothing.
Becky Russell, for the record. Welcome. Could you please tell us a bit about your school?
Good morning. This is my partner, Lita Walker. We are doing this together. Funny story, we went to high school together, and in high school, I did her hair, and as an adult, she does mine. So this is just a dream that two young girls didn't even know we had, but we both have a passion to do something that changes the world. And we know that there's a need for it. And we are just praying and grateful for the opportunity to come in front of you all to make this happen.
Yes. Oh, and I would like to say we both first started out as natural hairstylists. I've been a natural hair specialist for 20 years now. And currently I have a salon suite, but we decided to come together to one, give back to the community, and two, put other people in position to be able to do the things that we are doing today.
Becky Russell, for the record, that's a beautiful story. Thank you so much. We will start out with some questions. Do you all offer both full and part-time?
No, we're starting off as full-time only, no apprenticeship.
Okay.
We were nervous, so, we were trying to go straight and narrow, and, as years come, we'll build upon, but yeah.
I had just asked because there's a statement that we needed if you were offering both full and part-time, but
Okay.
it's not applicable for you all. The enrollment agreement that you've provided, it looks like it rolls straight into the student handbook. Is that just one large enrollment agreement? I guess there's a lot of information that's found in the student handbook that needs to be on the enrollment agreement.
Okay.
So is this technically a student handbook or is the entire document the enrollment agreement?
The entire document is the enrollment agreement. And I know it's a lot of work and it was a lot of typing, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of emails to Miss Roxana. I was, I'm so grateful for all the help that she was giving us because yeah.
In the area where there should be a place to sign for the students, it appears that there's not a place to sign for a representative of the school. It looks like the student just signs.
Okay, I will make
We can
those
add that.
adjustments.
I think that they, state board members have found it.
Okay. I'm like, I
Gotcha.
saw that. I know that I put that on there somewhere, but okay.
I guess maybe because you, this is kind of makes it in the middle of your enrollment agreement rather than at the end. If
Okay.
that, handbook is actually part of the enrollment agreement, I think we probably need to move that to the end.
Okay.
Where the student signs and the, representative of the school signs, if this is one entire document.
Okay.
Because we don't want them signing before they learn more information.
Yes, ma'am.
And then also, and it may be in that statement, because I was looking at the very end, I didn't see a place for them to acknowledge that they had received a copy of the document.
Okay.
So if you'll just
Add that.
kind of, yeah, in the same location, that will be fine. Board members, are there additional questions?
Tamika Turner. So I'm going to recuse myself from this one because this is my student. Maya is my student. I'm super proud of her. But I wanted to make that statement before we went forward.
This is Amy Tanksley. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Lane Petty, I'll second.
Thank you, members. We have a motion by Amy Tanksley to approve, a second by Lane Petty. I will do roll call vote, and thank you, Ms. Turner, for recusing yourself. I will go past you, and I have made notation of that. Ms. Susan Arnold,
Yes.
Harry Baldwin,
Approve.
Brunetta Carlton,
Yes.
Monica Lemons,
Yes.
David McElreath,
Approved.
Marquise Martin,
Approved.
Lane Petty,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
and Ms. Amy Tanksley.
Yes.
Members, that still gives us quorum. Congratulations. I believe you've just got minor change regarding that last page. You'll send me, and then when you're ready to be inspected, you'll let me know. Thank you. Thank you, members. Our last school starts on page 87. I will let everyone turn to that page. This is Lash Jazz LLC. It is a specialty aesthetics school. This school is actually going to specialize only in the eyelashes. We've approved 2, maybe even 3 already that have gone down this path. We don't have a specialty eyelash school. We're using the aesthetics, but they don't necessarily have to teach aesthetics. So that's what this school is. Ms. Jasmine Howard, I believe, is participating virtually. The school is located in Nashville. We have the application, floor plan, enrollment agreement, catalog, and contingency plan before you. Yes, I see Ms. Jasmine on the call. Ms. Jasmine, if you can unmute yourself, and Ms. Russell, I'll turn it back over to you.
Becky Russell for the record. Ms. Jasmine, would you like to tell us a bit about your school?
Yes, first, thanks for having me. I'm so excited. Well, I'll start by saying I'm excited that there became a separate eyelash specialty license. I just feel like it's always should have been that way. I, along with so many others that only wanted to do eyelashes, had to go through the full aesthetics programs. With only wanting to do eyelashes, and they didn't touch on that. So I'm just so excited that this is now a thing. I also feel like the lash industry has kind of lost its integrity a bit. So I just want to be a part of the change I like to see within the industry. As far as the school, I want to be more smaller scale, no more than 10 students per cohort, with theory being online and then practical being on site.
Becky Russell for the record. I was looking at your blueprint and I can't identify where a classroom might be. It appears that you've got stations for the students to practice applying lashes, but I'm not seeing a classroom. Do you have a classroom?
Well, it's because it's the space is flexed, so all of the equipment is like portable. There's no stationary equipment, so um it can there's tables and chairs that can be set up for that any portion that would need to take place in the classroom.
I'm going to have to defer to legal for this one. We typically require a separate classroom and salon floor. I know that there are equipment exceptions for a school. I'm not certain about the actual space.
And I can add to that. So the classroom has to be enclosed. There does have to be a classroom, whether you use that private room that has a notation, but there has to be an enclosed classroom, even if the theory hours you're expecting to do virtually in a synchronous fashion. The students need to have a place where they would come if they need to sit down and go through some of the hours or however you decide. But the enclosed classroom does need to be there. And so if the members are okay with the floor plan being revised, I don't have a problem reviewing and approving that. We've gone through and updated the floor plan a couple of times already.
This is Amy Tanksley. Just to confirm, all of the schools are being inspected by one of our inspectors, correct? As
Yes,
well?
absolutely. Whether they're apprenticeship only or not, we're inspected.
Thank you.
Okay, this is Becky Russell. I was looking through your enrollment agreement and I'm having a hard time locating the days and hours of operation.
Oh, okay. 9 to, are you referring to like the class or just the time that the space will be open? Because 9 to 3:30 is what would be with a 30-minute lunch break.
Okay, is that written somewhere here in your documentation? I just didn't see it.
On the enrollment agreement, I can add it.
Okay.
I'll make note of that.
You were talking about your theory hours being virtual. Are those synchronous or asynchronous?
Well, there'll be an instructor available at all, the whole time.
And will you offer both full and part-time?
Yes.
I did not see a statement in your documentation that says full and part-time hours are kept separately. That would need to be added if you plan on having full and part-time hours. You probably also, since you're going to be adding hours of operation anyway, add those full and part-time hours just so that the students are clear when they are intended to be in class.
Okay. It's on here. Let me tell you exactly where it is.
Bernetta Carlton, page 6, maybe.
On our page 108, I believe is what Ms. Bernetta Carlton was referring to maybe. Under program length, 15 to 20 hours per week, but I don't think it's what you're looking for, Ms. Russell.
So, we did locate something that says that the students are attending Monday through Friday, but it still doesn't give the hours that they are attending. So if you will just define that for the students, the hours that full-time students will be attending in terms of 9 to 3:30, if that's your hours, and then also the times that part-time students would be in class. They just need to be aware of that prior to agreeing to enroll and pay money, and then find out later that their schedule doesn't work out with yours.
Right. Okay, I'll get those, the times added.
Your enrollment agreement where the student signs, can you tell me if it says that they sign prior to payment?
Yes, they sign prior to payment, and then, because that's gonna have the layout of what they're expected to pay, as well as, like the payment plan if they need to. Because I will have that as an option.
It looks like your page 11 has the student's signature, but I'm not saying that they're, let's see.
Or page 94, her page 3 has that they understand and before making the first payment.
Okay, perfect. This is just a note for you, not necessarily for us, but you've got a bullet point number 12 that says additional course time, and you have it priced per credit hour. You might want to revisit that on your side. We have no say on what you charge per credit or per hour, but hours and credit hours are very different. So you might want to look at that for yourself.
Okay.
You also have record retention. I think something makes me think this is on page 27. I may be making up the page number, but somewhere you say record retention. You need to make sure that the record retention is for 7 years. I think yours may say 5.
Okay.
Okay, it's on your page. Miss Petty found it for you. It's on your page 30. It says 5 to 7 years, and it actually needs to be at least 7 years.
Alrighty, I have it. Well, I don't have it, but I've made note of it. I'm sorry.
Perfect. And then the last note that I have for you is on your page 27. It says minimum qualifications of all instructors. And you have a minimum of 1 year of experience in aesthetics or related fields. In order to receive an instructor's license, the instructor must have been licensed for a minimum of 3 years. And while the minimum experience and minimum years of licensure may be different, I just don't want an instructor or a person to confuse that they would be able to be a licensed instructor at 1 year.
Okay. 3 years.
And board members, do you all have additional questions?
Tamika Turner. Back to the floor plan, and I understand that we have, the inspectors that go out. But it's seems that it's presented just for clinical services. So there wouldn't be space for the actual classroom. It looks like the break area and the working area is all in the same space. So my question is this inside of a salon or is this a
Yes,
standalone school?
yeah, it is. Yes, it is. In the back is completely separate from everything else. That's why the other spaces that you do see says no access because they those are closed off. That you wouldn't have any access to it. But that back space is, like I said, flex. So if I needed to add an additional space that's closed off just for a classroom or lounge or break, I could do that.
And is the break room, is that a shared space with the salon?
Well, it was just like a little table that they can sit at. That it's not like necessarily officially where they have to eat or anything like that. It was just like a I guess furniture, but it's a table and two chairs that was right there. I was just drawing everything that how the space looked. Um, because there is a sink, and the space came with a sink and a built-in like dishwasher that's a part of the sink. And that's right there by where that table is.
Thank you.
Ms. Turner, Roxana Gamusio. I believe that we've discussed the floor plan and like I said, it's been revised already before it was presented to you. I'm going to leave that up to the members. If the floor plan is something you want to review again and not give me the authority to approve, I want you to consider that. The school does have to be separate from the shop. So as long as there's a clear separation, the field inspector would look for that. But there does need to be an enclosed classroom. So even if I approve the floor plan, if the enclosed classroom is really not enclosed, the field inspector wouldn't approve it, or this can come before you again in August. I just want to let you know because most of our schools don't have the furniture that is always movable, but the classroom still has to be enclosed.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you for that. And just full transparency, like I've just seen it so many times where we approve these spaces, and then I may in my area, because I visit a lot of places, the schools they're commingling with the salon. So I'm like, are they sharing space? Like we approve it, and then they're approved, and then the students get there, and it's not what they're expecting. So that's why I always ask questions about the floor plans, because I've seen it so many times where they're, like I said, they're just in a little closet.
Yeah. I don't know the perfect solution to that,
Mhm.
other than the floor plan should not change from what we've approved.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The floor plan should not change from what's approved unless it is I call it a substantive change if it impacts the public, right? That would be a change in location we would need to inspect. If you're just moving the administrative office or expanding the classroom, we've generally not needed to re-inspect for that. But if there is a change when the inspector goes back around, that should be flagged because the board is approving the layout. And if it impacts the public, the rules are written in a way that we would consider it a new inspection needed, such as a change in location.
So
That
are you
makes
saying
sense?
that you do have an updated floor
This is
plan?
it. This is the last update.
Oh, okay.
It does not reflect an enclosed classroom that you all mentioned and have
Right.
other concerns. I just want to make sure that you all decide, is the floor plan needing to come back before you, or are you okay if Ms. Howard is able to restructure things and enclose the classroom and make sure that the salon is separate from the school, I can approve it, and then the inspector would confirm on the inspection.
This is Amy Tanksley. I would trust the inspector who's going to be there in person to see what is and isn't happening in this space. I did not catch that this was part of a salon or next to a salon. I think that's important to discuss. If it is adjacent or within a salon, it has to have its own private entrance, correct? It has to have its own space. We've approved some of these. I'm forgetting.
I believe we've also approved at least a couple that operate different days of the week and different times. And in writing, we've been able to see in their documents. That's not the case here that I can remember, but I've read these many times for the 4 schools. And so it would need to be clear that the days and hours of operation are different if that's the case, and they're not separate. Otherwise, it would have to be a separation between the two.
Yeah, this is Amy Tanksley. I'm recalling that I have inspected a school that was doing that, where they were using it on off days when the salon space was closed, and that was when the school was, got it, okay. But because we don't have any hours of operation in this at all, that will be one of the things that needs to be adjusted, correct?
Yeah, yes, and if the members are comfortable with that and it goes with your motion, that's fine. And if not, you would need to review the documents again.
We've got sort of a long list of corrections and additions. Do we want to go through that one last time on the record before we approve?
I can give it a stab. I also want to make sure that Ms. Howard, maybe when the video's released, that it's going to be recorded, that she also captures it. What I have is that the classroom has to be enclosed. I think that's going to be the first barrier. However that looks, it has to be enclosed. Therefore, the floor plan has to be updated. The hours need to be listed very clearly as the hours of operation and expected days and hours of operation, because the information given was that there are also part-time students. We need the statement that says full and part-time students. Records are kept separate. That's in our rules. Just as a side note, the listing for credit hours is used instead of regular hours, which are different. So there needs to just be a clarification on that. The record of retention is listed in statute as 7 years. That has to be cleared. It cannot be 5 to 7. I believe those are all the notes that I have.
We've got a minimum 1 year for an instructor that's
Okay.
listed, and that needed clarification.
Thank you.
I have one more question, and that is about the contingency plan. Have you established a relationship with another school for your contingency plan?
So I was confused on that part. I thought that it was just kind of like a refer out for the teach out portion of the contingency plan. I know the last time me and Ms. Roxana spoke, she told me that I needed to, contact the school that I had listed, which was Paul Mitchell, because I thought that they were the only ones with the same program. But since then, I have been in contact with well, I have her, she's listed as the instructor, but she has a relationship with Sheer Perfection, and they don't currently have the eyelash specialty program, but that she could take it on in the event something happened there at Sheer Perfection.
I would like to make a motion to deny the application just because of all of the details that we are missing. And because I do want to see it again. Because like I said, it's the floor plan for me, and I do understand we have the inspectors, but I want to make sure that we are approving schools that are going to be able to house the students. But with all the other details missing, I would like to make a motion to deny.
If I could interrupt us, I think and Joe will correct me, we had a motion by Ms. Tanksley to approve. That was not seconded by anyone. So I believe.
No,
that
I did not
motion
make a
dies.
motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No.
Thank you.
I asked for clarification because it's Monday and yeah.
Thank you. So now we're good. I apologize. Ms. Tamika Turner has a motion to deny as presented and basically re-present in August. Is that correct with all the changes? I will wait on a second if there is a second. Thank you, ma'am.
I'll second. My name's Lane.
Thank you. So for clarity, this school as presented is not being approved today. The motion is to represent with all the changes that have been requested. That would be at the meeting in August. The motion was made by Ms. Tamika Turner. The second was by Ms. Lane Petty. Members by roll call vote. If you could let me know if you're in agreement. If you are not or abstain, I will take that during roll call vote as well. Ms. Susan Arnold,
Agree.
Carrie Baldwin,
Agree.
Bernetta Carlton,
Yes, I'm in agreement.
Monica Lemons,
Yes.
David McElreath, Marquise Martin,
Yes.
Lane Petty,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Amy Tanksley,
Yes.
and Ms. Tamika Turner.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Jasmine, if you need any clarification, the video will stream live. I think we've gone over it. It'll record these, but you can email me later, and I need that just a month before that August meeting date. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, members. We're going to switch over to our legal report, which is next on the agenda. That's separate on your iPads. If you can switch to that, and then I'll turn it over to our legal attorney, Michael Underhill, and then Joe for the updates. Thank you.
Good morning, Board. Mike Underhill, Litigation Counsel for the Board. On the legal report, we have 117 cases consisting of 6 represents, 7 Barber cases, and 104 cosmetology cases. Before we open it up for questions, I did note some changes that I will need to make to the legal report. Under cosmetology, item number 72, that first sentence should read, this April 14th, 2026 consumer complaint alleges a pricing complaint and unprofessional conduct, so I will make that change. On item number 96 under cosmetology, the recommendation amount should be $4,500 instead of $4,000. So I will make that change. And then under Barber case, number 110, item number 110,
Mike, can you clarify on 96? It was changed from 4,000 to what?
$4,500.
Fair. Got it. Thank you.
And then item number 110, I believe it states this is a duplicate complaint of item number 104 above. That should read 109 above. And I will make those 3 changes.
Becky Russell for the record. Mike, thank you so much for a very detailed and great document for us to look at. I had one question that was on number 10 in cause. It's a letter of warning. I think that I would like to see an inspector go out in addition to that.
Okay, Michael Underhill. So still send the letter of warning, but then follow it with an inspection.
Yes, just because we haven't received a response and the registration was expired.
Okay, that will be added to the recommendation.
Yeah, this is Amy Tanksley. I'd like to refer to Barber case number 105. And I'd also like to ask that this be revisited by an inspector. This was concerning.
Marquise Martin, for the record. Yeah, I was looking at 105 myself too. That was interesting. I was wondering how do we issue a letter of warning when you don't have a shop license or a barber license? Who are you sending it to?
Well, we have, typically in a case like that, you would have the address as part of, I'm sorry, Michael Underhill again, as part of the online complaint, and we do send letters if we do know an address for that. So typically, I presume that they would have a business mailbox that we could send that to. Nonetheless, we do that as a matter of course. But I totally understand to go back out there and try to re-inspect. But obviously, the inspector knows the challenges that goes along with that, but we will make that attempt again. Thank you. I will also note, Michael Underhill again, on these letters of warning that we send out, very rarely do I see a repeat type situation involving the same person. I can presume from that, these letters are working.
Marquise Martin for the record. This one was just interesting because there's not a shop. There's not a shop license. There's not a barbershop license. There was just like just like a spot where people are cutting hair. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, this is weird. Like, how do we issue a letter warning when you don't even have a license or a shop license to attach it to, or like a lease agreement, or you know what I'm saying? So I get where you're going with it, but this one was just really peculiar, and I think it kind of speaks to where we are, especially with the inspection situation. I know the law changed on inspection where we're not inspecting yearly like we used to, but I think you'll see a lot more of this just for the lack of oversight, like in terms of, because we haven't been inspected at our school this year yet at all. And although I feel like we're doing everything right.
So you just
You
jinxed
know?
yourself on that.
But I welcome it. Because I feel like we put in a lot of hard work to make sure that we are in a compliance. And I think that with the lack of oversight and inspection, a lot of people gonna slide through the cracks. So, I'd like to say this one just kind of stood out when I read it. It was like, I think we'll see a lot more of this, due to the lack of oversight. So,
Michael Underhill, I will give the inspections people credit. They also serve process on our behalf, and they do an excellent job, just like stated in the report. I mean, he was about to walk in right behind a customer, and they give maximum effort in doing that. And I know that you're not questioning the effort, but we'll just have to figure out new tactics on those types of situations.
And if I could add real quick, Roxana Gamuzio, so this has happened before the change of inspection, where the shop is closed, it's locked and we can't get in. This is not increased because we're inspecting less. That is not true. I can't tell if there's more unlicensed activity, but it's not that we're inspecting less, it's that we're going more often for the complaints. And I do think that's where our efforts should be if we're protecting the public, is to go quicker. Even on the complaints we've got today, we're following up more than we did before. And so hopefully, we can at least, the letter warning maybe makes a difference and they understand the statute that they need a license, but going back until we're able to go in. But that's hard when the doors are locked and it's appointment only. That's always been there.
Marquise Martin for the record. So in a situation like that, where you have people that are operating unlicensed barber shop, specifically, there's nothing else that you could really do if the door is locked. That's about maxed out.
Typically, what I could do, especially when the complainant is known, is I can refer them to local law enforcement. And I personally find that it's better if they go in person as opposed to me sending a letter. I used to send letters. I don't think I got the response I was hoping for, but I think when a live person walks in the door and says, hey, you have this situation, you know, it lays it at law enforcement's feet to make the choice, do I do something about it or do I not do something about it? And I realize the district attorney, based on that, would, you know, have some discretion, but all we can do is point them in the right direction.
Gotcha. Noted.
Mike, I appreciate your updates and a couple other cases we've discussed. I'd like to make a motion to approve the legal report with your changes.
Monica Lemons, I'd like to second.
Thank you, members. We have a motion by Amy Tansley and a second by Monica Lemons to accept the legal report as presented by Mr. Underhill with the revisions we've gone over by roll call vote to accept and move forward. I've lost my page. Thank you. Susan Arnold,
Yes.
Perry Baldwin,
Yes.
Bernetta Carlton,
Yes.
Monica Lemons,
Yes.
Mr. David McElreath has stepped away. Marquise Martin,
Yes.
Blaine Petty,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Amy Tanksley,
Yes.
and Tamika Turner.
Yes.
That still gives us quorum members. That takes care of the legal report. Thank you, Mike. Great job. I will turn it over to Joe Warden to go over any updates that we need for the legislative session that's ended.
Good morning, board members. It's good to see all of you this morning. Just briefly, the only legislative update that I have is just touching back on what we discussed at our last board meeting. There was an administrative bill that's now been turned into a public chapter. The public chapter number is 1039, so 1039. And that was signed by the governor on May 21st, 2026. And that encapsulates the makeup application services exemption from our statute. I know there's been some confusion on the topic, and as we discussed at our last meeting, there was a bill drafted for the makeup exemption that failed. However, there was an administrative bill separate from that bill that just focused on the makeup application services. And the admin bill did pass, so makeup application is now exempted from our statute as of July 1, 2026. But I just wanted to clear up any confusion on that. And I'll answer any questions that you may have. Thank you so much.
Blaine Petty. So they no longer have to have a license in order to do makeup.
As of July 1, there is a statutory definition that's included. But yes, if they meet the new statutory definition, they no longer need a license from this board to provide those services. And they're exempted from our statute, and then it defines what they can do.
Hey, just a quick note, Ms. Petty, since you kind of said a follow-up, but it didn't come on the mic. Makeup on itself never had any testing. So makeup has always fallen under master barbers, cosmetologists, and estheticians. But more and more, we've seen people move from California with makeup artist license or registrations, that kind of thing. This excludes just, and Joe will correct me if I'm wrong, the makeup section, because a lot of our shops that do the makeup have been using disposable all along. And I'm not saying that that's why it would have passed or not, but the makeup is one of those things, as you know, that stores that sell the makeup are exempt anyway, because you're selling it. It's based on the product, not the service. But the services for a long time have been using disposable, mascaras and so forth. So it would be just if that's what you're doing, is that service only.
Tamika Turner. So as far as the makeup application, so are they able to still apply the lashes, shape the brows and things like that? Because that's what most makeup artists do.
Joe Warden, counsel for the board. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No, it's
interrupt you,
okay.
Ms. Turner, at all. The new makeup exemption to the statute does not include eyelash services. We have an eyelash services license. Those services are still going to be regulated. So the way it's defined, I went ahead and pulled it up, and it says, means the application of a cosmetic to enhance the appearance of the face or skin, including powder, foundation, rouge, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that word, eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, and lipstick, and including makeup applied using an airbrush. Includes incidental and not necessary cleansing, moisturizing, and priming of the face when performed solely in connection with the application or removal of makeup. Does not constitute aesthetics, cosmetology, aesthetics, or any other practice regulated under this chapter, and does not include facials or other skincare services, removal of superfluous hair, tattooing, micropigmentation, or application of permanent or semi-permanent makeup. And then the final one that it does not include is application of artificial eyelashes. So all those services are still being regulated by us.
Tamika Turner, are we able to be a part of those conversations like before? Is that just something that happens in the Capitol for legislation?
Joe Warden, counsel for the board. If you want to be part of those conversations, I hate to sound cliche, but it's contact your local representative. Because they hold the conversations, it's their power. So that would be your conduit to have input on a bill like this.
Thank you.
Any other questions, members? Joe, thank you for pulling that up and reading it to us. I appreciate that immensely. Members, we are on to the felony applicants back on your presentation. If I could get everyone to switch over. They start on page 138, I believe. I will go ahead and read our applicants onto the record. You have applications before you for Gerald Jennings, Rodney Jennings, and Steve Malone. These applications are from individuals that have a felony conviction within the last 3 years and or are incarcerated. The request is that they take the Tennessee examinations toward getting a license approved. The board has always approved agreed orders for a probationary license for 2 years. If you have any questions, I welcome those. I've needed to add one additional name since we did this. Mr. Eddie Simmons will also be getting an agreed order. You don't have his records before you, but he was approved in 2022 for an agreed order and signed it, but it's 4 years old. So the order was only for 2 years, had not tested because he is incarcerated. So we're going to redo that order if it's okay with the board because it's past the 2-year frame anyway. But he just recently took the exams before he was able. Again, he's still incarcerated. So any questions, I welcome those. Otherwise, we would need a motion.
This is Amy Tanksley. I make a motion to approve these licenses with the 2-year agreed order.
Lane Petty, I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Amy Tansley and a second by Lane Petty by roll call order. Members, if you're in agreement, Ms. Susan Arnold,
Yes.
Carrie Baldwin, Bernetta Carlton.
Yes.
Monica Lemons.
Yes.
David McElreath. Marquise Martin.
Yes.
Lane Petty.
Yes.
Becky Russell.
Yes.
Amy Tanksley.
Yes.
Ms. Tamika Turner.
Yes.
Thank you so much, members. We are going to move on to page 156 is where the felony applicants end, and I'm going to give you a brief kind of recap of what we have before you. The 4 applications that are next are identical in nature. These are surrendered licenses and individuals asking to take the examination. I will read the names on the record. You have before you proof of the surrendered license. These are decisions based on complaints that we dealt with last year. Colorado information presented to us that was not accurate, and we opened a total of, I believe, 76 cases, if I'm remembering correctly. Many of those, or at least a few, you have approved because they've gone back to school in Tennessee, and we approved those at a prior meeting. These 4 have gone to school in Vietnam. You have their information. They are asking permission to take the exams based on those documents. The information's almost identical for all of them. They are, I believe, all 4 manicure licenses. I will read the name on the record. I just want to simplify so that you know you're looking at 4 different individuals, but they're the same kind of situation. The board had given us years ago permission to do evaluations of education if we weren't sure if the school was open, if we couldn't see a site online that looked accurate, if for any reason we had a concern, we've sent documents to be evaluated. That is a discretion that you've turned over to us to do. We've reviewed many of the schools coming from Vietnam and gotten positive evaluations. And so we don't do those routinely now once we've gotten an evaluation. But you have before you information for a manicure license with education from Vietnam for Phuy Nguyen. Mr. Nguyen was previously licensed, as mentioned, from Colorado. He surrendered that license. You have that before you. Now he's providing his education from Vietnam and is asking to take the exam. The next individual is Han Nguyen. Mr. Nguyen, previously licensed via reciprocity from Colorado, surrendered that license and is now asking for his education records from Vietnam to be accepted so he may take the exams. The next person is Tuan Tran. Mr. Tran was previously licensed via reciprocity from Colorado, surrendered that license, and is now asking for his education from Vietnam to be approved. He is also asking to take both exams. And then the last individual is Ms. Thu Vu. Ms. Vu was previously licensed via reciprocity with a license from Colorado, surrendered that license, and is now asking for the education she has from Vietnam to count toward her manicure exam. I will be happy to answer any questions if I'm able to. Not that you have to do one motion for all four, but given that they're almost the same information, that would be my recommendation.
Remind me, this is Amy Tankston, remind me the situation in Colorado.
Happy to, and Joe, if I missed something, you can jump in. We had an influx of licensees, did an audit, which we do often when we see a trend. It took us a while to get down to the information. The names were similar enough in nature that that's what was used. Many of those individuals then did name changes. When we completed the audit and Colorado was able to respond to our audit, they confirmed that the names with the date of birth and social security information that we were able to give directly to the executive director and so forth did not match. And so all 76 complaints were presented to you, obviously redacted, for revocation of licenses at that point in time. And that's how they all proceeded. They're not all resolved. Some will go all the way to formal hearing, but several of them were presented previously because they went to a school in Tennessee and had already passed the exam. So at that point, you approved a license because a school in Tennessee, I believe one or two of them, one definitely took them on, has a path forward where they, make sure the hours are done. The school's in good standing right now, and we approve those. These are a little bit different because they're bringing education outside of Tennessee, but they would still be taking the exam if you're approving that. Did that help, Ms. Tanksley?
Yes, thank you.
Becky Russell, for the record, would it be appropriate to treat these like our felony applications and do the agreed order with these as well? Just because it appears that some of this could have come through a fraudulent license type. I'm not thrilled with the way that they've gone about getting the license. And while, yes, they are going to test, so do our applications who, have felonies in the past.
Joe Warden, counsel for the board, I don't see any reason why we couldn't do that. That would be the board's decision. If the board decided to put that requirement on these individuals, what we would need to do first is execute an agreed order between them where they agree to this. If they don't, then theoretically we would have to pick up the discussion and the board would decide whether or not at that time they would want to move forward with the license type. But I believe that if that is the path the board is interested in, the motion today would be to look forward to executing an agreed order with these individuals. If they agree with the agreed order, execute the agreed order, then we would continue them for licensure.
Is that going to hold them up until our next meeting, or can we approve based on they agreed to the citation?
Joe Warden, counsel for the board. The board has previously granted Roxana the authority to execute these agreed orders when signed by legal counsel. So if the board wanted to grant Ms. Gamusio that authority today, I don't see any reason why we couldn't get those agreed orders moving and look towards licensure as long as we've got those signatures.
Lane Petty, so you're asking for them to have that 2-year thing?
Marquise Martin, just for clarification, the 2-year thing, explain that to me. Explain. Confused.
Joe Warden, legal counsel for the board. Essentially what the agreed order states is, hey, the board is either approving you to test for licensure or is willing to grant you this license based on the condition that you follow all of our rules, regulations, and statutes for 2 years, which applies to everyone. However, if you are found in violation of one of our rules or statutes within this 24-month span, the first 2 years that you're granted this license, your license is revoked as a system of law. So we wouldn't need to file a formal hearing. As for revocation, you're agreeing to it up front. Hey, I'm on thin ice. If I violate any of the rules, regulations, it's going to cost me this license that you've agreed to give to me.
Marquise Martin, so they wouldn't have to test or anything like that. We would just like issue a license.
No. They still test. We're just stating that, hey, if you qualify, you pass your test, you're ready for us to license. As part of this license, before we give it to you and you walk out the door, you need to sign this additional piece of paper that says, hey, we're only willing to give you your license if you agree to a 2-year probationary period. They sign it, and then we hand them the license.
And if I could add to Mr. Martin's point, so with our individuals that are incarcerated, they sign the agreed order regardless, right? Because they might have been incarcerated more than the 3 years. And that's that ethical professional conduct that we kind of use to make sure that they're covered. When they sign the agreed order, they may or may not have taken the exams. It just depends, because while you're incarcerated, the whole PSI and online exam is not as easy as when you're out, obviously. So we're not as worried for them. But for these, based on the conversation, what we can do is when the agreed order is signed, is then put them in to take the exam. That way we have the agreed order and there's already an understanding, but the timeline, and Joe can correct me, will not start until the license is approved. So that way they can make the decision, yes, this agreed order makes sense. It protects the public, and to our felony piece that we do, we've never had to go back on that agreed order because it would give us a path forward if there was a violation based on that order, but we've never needed to really use it. It's just safeguarding and protecting the public. Thank you.
So this is Amy Tanksley. I'd like to make the motion that we give Roxana the authority to ask these individuals to agree to the 2-year probationary period and then approve them to test. Is that the correct language?
Barry Baldwin, I second that.
Roxana Gamusio, thank you very much. I will go over to make sure we're clear. We are adding to these 4 individuals, and we may have others. And so this is going to stay then as is. Legal counsel is going to prepare the agreed probationary order for the license. They will have to sign that agreed order as part of this application to test packet that they've provided. When the agreed order is received, then my office would put them in to take the exams. They'd have to pass both exams and then complete their application for a license, which we don't have yet. They would be paying for the fee for the license and those exams. So I believe we have a motion for that. Is that correct, Ms. Tanksley?
That is correct. Thank you.
And a second for Mr. Baldwin. If you're in agreement by roll call order, if not, please also let me know. Ms. Susan Arnold,
Yes.
Perry Baldwin, Bernetta Carlton,
Yes.
Monica Lemons,
Yes.
David McElreath,
Yes.
Marquise Martin,
Yes.
Lane Petty,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Amy Tanksley,
Yes.
and Tamika Turner.
Yes.
Thank you, members. And those same motions will apply to all 4. If you'll give me a minute. We are done with our applications to test. We are moving on to the miscellaneous section. Hold on. Okay. And this starts on page 197. This is a request to waive the need to retest. This is pursuant to Rule 0440-01-.10. This is under the cosmetology statute, which says that an applicant must apply for and pay for their original license within 6 months after passing the examination. The board has given me, for good cause, an extension of 6 additional months, which blocks it into a year as the most a person could be delayed from their original license. You have before you Miss Lindsay Chapman. She's provided an email explaining why she failed to apply for the licensure within that timeline. She passed her aesthetics practical exam January 29, 2025, and that is on page 199 of our applications, or of our presentation.
This is Amy Tanksley to confirm she took and passed her aesthetics exams in January of 2025 and did not complete the licensing process. And it has been now over a year outside of what you're able to approve.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
And she passed both of her exams.
Yes, she's passed both. The practical is the second one. Sometimes there's a longer time frame between the theory and practical, so I always present the practical to you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve her license.
Monica Lemons, a second.
Thank you, Roxana Gamusio. We have a motion by Amy Tansley to approve past the timeline, second by Ms. Monica Lemons. By roll call order, Susan Arnold,
Yes.
Perry Baldwin, Bernetta Carlton,
Yes.
Monica Lemons,
Yes.
David McElroy, Marquise Martin,
Yes.
Lane Petty,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Amy Tansley,
Yes.
and Tamika Turner.
Yes.
Thank you, members. Next is starting on your iPads on page, give me a second, I want to make sure. I believe it's page 200. This is a need to take the exams again. This is pursuant to 0200-01-.10, which is the Barber statute, which states that an applicant must apply for and pay for their original license within 6 months of passing the examination. The examination, and this is for Mr. Maricas Williams, I believe. Mr. Williams is here with us. I don't know that you have any questions. We've done these in the past routinely, but he has passed his practical exam. This one goes a little bit further back. The date is August 19th, 2024. He has provided written documentation, and that's on page 200 as to the explanation, and it is past the year that I'm able to extend.
This is Amy Tanksley. I'd like to make a motion to grant him his license.
Tamika Turner, I would like to second.
Thank you. Roxana Gamusio, we are approving the extension as requested. Motion was made by Amy Tanksley, seconded by Ms. Tamika Turner. Members, if you're in agreement, please let me know. If you are not, I also need that information during roll call. Ms. Susan Arnold,
Yes.
Perry Baldwin, Bernetta Carlton,
Yes.
Monica Lemons, David McElreath, Marquise Martin, Lane Petty,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Amy Tanksley,
Yes.
and Tamika Turner.
Yes.
Thank you, members. We are on to the last item of information within the miscellaneous starts on page 201. Let me do a quick recap. You have before you information from one of the schools that has closed. I know we've addressed schools closing during the application process today. Revive Beauty and Wellness Institute has submitted the last round of their hours, goes back to hours for December, and they submitted them in December for September 2025. Multiple complaints were filed at that point in time by our students. I believe at maybe our last meeting or the one before, a student actually came to get an update on their hours. At that point in time, the board was not aware of the school. You were reviewing the complaint process coming from the parents in the schools. Those complaints have lived their course. The monthly hours report, for those of you that aren't directly in schools or instructors, may look different to you and you're not used to them, but every month when schools submit that report, they give us just the last four of the social, which is what you're looking at. And then obviously if a school closes, the thought is, or the proper way probably to proceed would be to release the student hours. In this particular case, the school and I did connect early on. My thought was that the school was changing locations, not closing completely. The school is not open. There is no one at that location, so they're not there. The students have reached out. What you see on page 205 is one specific student just showing me proof of an email or text that they sent asking for their hours. I believe most of the students immediately started contacting the instructor and school owner for release of their hours. Parents have contacted me. I would like to say I've spoken to possibly all of them, as has my office. What you're looking at on page 207 is a document that I truly appreciate. This is from Ms. Charlene Purnell. She is the owner of CDRS, Academy of Beauty. She had the same tracking system for hours that Revive School did, which was just sheer luck. So she was able to log in and see the hours that these students had. She decided, back to the point that I think one or two of you made, that we want schools to be kind to each other because the students are the ones that lose out. And so I think I appreciate you all saying that on the record. This school went over and above and accepted all of those students, and was, again, looked at the hours. We could not release the hours because, as you can see on that last report, they actually say not for release. And for some of you, this will be the first time that we're kind of overstepping and deciding to release hours because the school has not responded, hasn't called back, hasn't responded to the students. So they really are, there's nothing else for the students to do but to come to you. And this is the way. So we want to be able to release the hours that they have. Ms. Charlene has made a record of the number of hours she was able to pull from that school's hour tracking system. She's accepted them. And in most of these cases, these students are done with their education and ready to test. If the board approves the office releasing the hours, I'm going to go back to the last monthly report and make sure that they are very close to what was pulled over by Ms. Charlene. They will each have a withdraw document that I'll prepare just for their records in case they move out of state. If I'm ever not here, it'll be clear that those hours came from a decision made by the board to release them. And in this case, then the school can complete the student's file, if that makes sense, and put them into test because many of these students are waiting for their exams.
Marquise Martin. So the only thing that would be really stopping this process, I mean, from us stepping in would be really have the out well, the other school is closed
Yes, completely.
completely.
They're not there. They haven't responded.
Gotcha. So there wouldn't be a compensation type of issue.
We don't know. So that's a very good question. The board is making a decision because there's been no response. The students have had no response. They have nowhere else to go. You're making a decision to release those hours.
And so have we reached out to the former school owners and they just
Months
nothing?
ago, I have. The
Nothing.
information I had been given is that the students would all get their hours. One or two of them had paid everything in full and in essence overpaid,
Right.
right? So I was told on the last conversation that if there was a refund to be done, they would get a refund and that all hours would be released. That has not happened. That's why you're stepping in.
I make a motion to move forward.
I second that, Perry Baldwin.
Members, we've got a motion and a second. Are there any other questions or conversations before we continue?
My question is just, is there a way to flag these owners? Or, I mean, I hate to say and the instructors, right? But whoever is responsible for the non-compliance, releasing the hours, is there a way to flag them if they pop up on new school applications?
That is a great question. So there's an easy way for the school to not be able to renew because they don't have a physical location. And right now, at least even our apprenticeship schools must have a location. So that's a simple, wouldn't be able to renew and it's closed. There is no complaint against the instructor. That would be something, that we've not necessarily ever done before. The students opened the complaints directly against the school. I think right now, at least the way we work internally, we add notes and without a doubt, a note would go into this old school file saying that the board had to release these hours. There was not a good path for the students to proceed on their own. And so if there is an application, it would still come before you. Applications aren't just closed by our office. You get to review them and you would make the decision based on whatever at that point in time the school owner presented, right? Unique situation with life, whatever it may be, you'd get to hear it then.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So members, we have a motion by Marquise Martin to accept the hours from these students and go ahead and release them so that they could continue their education, which in many, if not all cases, they already have. We have a second by Mr. Perry Baldwin. Based on that motion, if I'm interpreting it right, I'm going to go ahead and do roll call vote. If you're not in agreement, please let me know. Ms. Susan Arnold,
Yes.
Perry Baldwin, Bernetta Carlton,
Yes.
Monica Lemons,
Yes.
David McElreath,
Yes.
Marquise Martin,
Yes.
Lane Petty,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Amy Tanksley,
Yes.
and Ms. Tamika Turner.
Yes.
Thank you, members. Okay, the next order of business is easy. It is on your page 209. This is approval of our 2027 meeting dates. We're sticking with the same every other month, first Monday of the month. Thanksgiving helped us this time. Last year, we brought you all back right after Thanksgiving. I apologize. It worked out this time. We actually have, I think, 2 weeks. So this is standard as we've done, no conflict, no other holidays. I would need a motion to accept them. We then block this room through 2027 and post the dates on the website.
Second.
Thank you, members. We have a motion by David McElreath and a second by Perry Baldwin to accept the 2027 meeting dates as presented on our iPads. They'll be added then to the website by roll call vote to proceed. Ms. Susan Arnold,
Yes.
Perry Baldwin,
Yes.
Bernetta Carlton,
Yes.
Monica Lemons,
Yes.
David McElreath, Marquise Martin,
Yes.
Lane Petty,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Amy Tanksley,
Yes.
and Ms. Tamika Turner.
Yes.
All right, thank you, members. Update of the budget. This is an update, but it leads us into our next order of business and conversations. You have before you the March financials through March 2026. It reflects the board at a deficit of $324,233. Bringing our current reserve balance down to $805,676. That number, we've talked about it for, I think I've been updating the board for a couple of years. We have not been self-sufficient for 2 or going on 3 years. I've been before the legislative body to justify why we weren't self-sufficient. At that point in time, our conversations were, even though our reserves were not what we would want them to be, there is no set in stone reserve number. But generally, when I attend these meetings for self-sufficiency, the thought is 2.5 times your annual expenses. We're at over 3 million, so we would need a lot in reserves. I don't foresee us getting to 2.5. However, what I want us to, have the conversation about under our new business and budget, they're lining up together, is that we're not going to have a choice but to do the fee increases. Because if the board is not self-sufficient, it can cease to exist. It would be a reason to sunset us. So moving on from the budget to discuss the fees, on your iPads on page 212, our fiscal and financial individual looked at the budget and kind of projected out. We would have nothing in our reserves by 2028. So obviously we're at that point of needing to look at financial increases. The last fee increase we did was in 2017. For those of you that are newer on the board, the cosmetology industry had not seen a fee increase since 1994. Fees used to be $50, went up to $60. The barber industry had seen a fee increase and they were paying $80 for their licenses. So what we did in 2017, and Ms. Russell and Amy, I think you'd remember, Frank said, "Are you serious? You're lowering fees." But we lowered the barber fees because it was the right thing in 2017. We wanted the entire industry to be the same cost for the shops, for the schools, for the individuals. And so, yes, we lowered $20 for each barber application. The shops felt a reduction, so did the schools. And the cosmetologies went up $5 a year. 2017, I thought we'd be good for a longer period. We don't want to blame anything on COVID anymore, but it's amazing how everything has gone up. So that's where we are. And our complaints are, although we're trying to save in one area, we're actually picking up more under inspections because of the complaints and the repeat and the more online things that we have to go look for. So all that to say, we are increasing the fees, and you will see the rules that Joe put together just to kind of simplify what the rules, because that is where our fees need to be. Explain, it is an increase of the license, the initial and the renewal from 60 to 80. And so it's $10 extra per year. Am I saying that right? Yeah, because we renew every 2 years. The other thing that has not been, I've not found the last time the fee was set, touched, but I think it was in the early 90s, maybe even before that, is the inspection cost. It's all shops have that added $50 for inspections. That fee has probably been wrong for at least a decade. So it's going up to 75. That increases the shop fees as well. The schools don't have the added separate inspection. So the school fee is going from $350 to $400 for an initial school. And as you can understand, that initial application has a lot of work behind it. We inspect it, but we don't charge it separately. So any questions you have, I welcome. The last page, 222, has a simpler kind of what we charge versus what it will be. The expectation with the fee increase is that we will have a reserve, which is what we need to have. If you look at the bottom, it's not that it's going to be 7 or 8 million, because I do think that we still streamline our expenses so much that that would be just not needed. But it would definitely carry us at least to 2023 without any concerns. And that is based on trends of licensing and everything else that we're able to analyze.
This is Amy Tanksley. I'd like to make a comment at this point. I understand the need to increase our fees to keep the board solvent. I'd also like to ask, this is the time to discuss the penalty fees that we have. I hate to say that we are raising our fees to our licensees who are following the rules and not also raising our fees to those who are not following the rules.
Joe Warden, legal counsel for the board. So the civil penalty maximum amount is currently set by statute at $1,000 per violation. So if we want to change that, we'd have to look at a statutory amendment, which again, not to be cliche, you would have to contact your local representative in order to have the maximum amount. Now, if the way in which Mike treats a first violation, second violation, or something like that, essentially the rhythm of the legal report, if you all wanted to look at, basically assessing more on a violation 1, more on a violation 2, or change that process, that is possible, but that would be a discussion we would need to have with disciplinary counsel Mike Underhill here. That way he has his directive and can apply your new principles accordingly. The fees are the quickest way and the best way for us to address the budget issues that we're having. The key here is we have the ability to change these unilaterally because our statute allows us to do this by rule, and rule we can do. So essentially that's why it's being brought up. So Ms. Tankersley, yes, we can do them both, but we would have to caveat your civil penalties till a discussion with Mike, and then the ceiling is still going to be capped at 1,000 per violation.
Thank you.
Becky Russell for the record. Something that I've never been able to explain to my students, and maybe you can just answer this for me, why the instructor's license is more expensive.
I don't know that I can answer it other than it's always thought that it's an additional perk. In some states, you keep up with 2 separate licenses. You don't in Tennessee. So rather than 2 $80 licenses, you're going to get to pay $190 instead of $70. It's that added piece, not to mention the continuing education that we have to track. And in many professions, continuing education, which is phenomenal, but it isn't necessarily mandatory. But with us it is. So I think that's the reason it adds a layer to the license and it becomes only one instead of two.
And then Joe, would you look at page 218 for me? And it looks like under C, instructors, that particular one was not redlined. It's 3C.
So are we looking at the Joe Ward, legal counsel for the board? Are you looking at renewal paragraph 3?
Yes. C, there's not a red line in that particular row.
For instructor?
Yes.
Are we changing it? Oh, okay. Then it was just missed on my end, so
Yes.
I apologize.
I thought that was the case, but I just wanted to draw your attention to it so that you
Noted.
might.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
Tamika Turner. Is the braid certification, is that not,
That is set in statute. We can't touch that.
okay. Just for clarity, the fee for that is set in statute?
It sure is.
Okay.
All of it is. There's nothing about the braid, hair braid or registration set in rule at all. It's all in law.
Okay.
That's a good point. Separate piece here, we talked about the compact license being $50. We're lowering it to 40. The reason that it was 50 is because we expect reciprocity to drop in our numbers because so many of our neighboring states have signed the contract. 2 more are signing it as a law. So hopefully over time, more and more states will understand that the multi-state license gives you all this mobility and it'll help our shops and et cetera. So we're lowering it a little bit to 40 because this should give us, we're bringing in more money from the initial license and so forth. So it will be $40. Most of that will be moved over to the compact itself, but then we will keep a portion of that because we know our reciprocity numbers will go down.
Marquise Martin. So this multi-state compact, is this just certain states? Is this everybody? Is this nationwide?
So I've been blessed to be part of this since the beginning. I think it's a blessing. Not sure. It's been over 3 years. This is to ease mobility, and it started with the Department of Justice for our military. The compact that Tennessee has signed is only for cosmetologists. Early conversations included everyone at the table, including barbers, estheticians, manicurists. The differences were too vast, or so that was the conversation. It only moved forward with cosmetology. So each state has to sign the compact into law. In other words, the state becomes part of the compact. Tennessee is part of the compact, Kentucky, Alabama, Arizona, Kansas, Maryland. I'm probably leaving out somebody but in any case, right now we are 10 states that have signed into law the compact. We will be issuing those multi-state licenses hopefully soon. The database is ready and I'm happy to share because I meet weekly to make sure we have that. And so hopefully by next May to July, it just depends on the fee, our cosmetologists will be given the option to opt into a multi-state license. When they opt in, they will need to pay for it. We otherwise have about 50,000 cosmetologists and those that were grandfathered in with the aesthetics. Separately from the cosmetology compact, there is now a possibility of adding the aesthetics as a law. That also has passed. 3 states have so far added the aesthetics. So the good thing is we'll be sharing the database. It'll save in costs, but I think, Mr. Martin, if that answered your question, that's going to be an optional. So it would not be for our barbers because there is no compact for barbers.
Gotcha. But just for the cosmetologist, so once you're licensed in the state of Tennessee, that's a Tennessee license.
Correct.
And then you can apply for the multi-state license?
you will let us know. The way I envision it working is when you apply for your first cosmetology license, there will be a pop-up that says, do you also want to have the multi-state license? If you click here, it's going to take you to a lot of literature because it's important that you understand the list of states that have signed. When you go to Kentucky, you still have to make sure you follow what Kentucky does, et cetera. But you would then receive the multi-state license, and it's their database that's going to include you in it if you opt in.
And this is we're going up to
$40.
$80 and an additional 40.
Correct. If you opt in, it's an additional, and that'll give you the right to practice at this point, it's 10, almost 12 states, and however many states keep signing on, you would be able to practice in all of those states.
That's
How
awesome.
often is the compact license renewed?
It's up to each state. Each state still controls that license. So your home state, and almost all of us renew every 2 years.
Oh, so the compact license, the additional $40 is a one-time only fee?
We are charging the $40 to obtain the compact license, and it should just remain at that. That's it. It's your one time that we're
Okay.
paying into it.
And you
That's the
continue to pay
vision.
your state renewal every 2
Correct.
years or
Correct.
whatever
Yes.
the other states have.
So no need, Marquise Martin, so no need to pay the $40 every renewal cycle.
That's not the vision. The vision is it is a one-time fee to the compact, because then the name gets added, and each state, twice a month, we're going to be just updating our lists.
Wow.
Because you still have to renew your home state, right?
Yes.
It's called, in the law, it's referred to as your home state. That's correct.
So there wouldn't be a reinstatement for the additional states that you're licensed to practice in.
Correct. No.
Tamika Turner. So as other states get added, then the licensed professional they'll be able to have licenses in those states as well.
You don't get a license.
Well,
You're
you know,
part of
the
the compact, which is
compact,
all
right.
online. Our inspectors have already, I have 3 different individuals testing out the database, looking so that when they pull up somebody in a shop that doesn't have a Tennessee license, they can see, oh, their home state's Kentucky, they're in good standing, they're in the multi-state compact. It's all using technology that'll identify, and then our inspectors need to make sure Ms. Turner is who Ms. Turner says she is, but you wouldn't be getting 12 licenses in the mail, right? That
Right.
becomes, and it would cost us a lot more to be part of the compact. Our hope with that is that aesthetics and other disciplines within the profession keep getting added. The medical profession, is the biggest with compacts. Obviously, our driver's license, those are, is a compact. If you think about it, that's where it starts. But the medical industry uses it that way. You don't print for each state. As more states get added on and pass the law, then you can start practicing potentially in 30 states.
Okay.
The nursing compact, I believe, now has 39 or 40 states have signed into, and that's the oldest compact within professions. We are the first professional compact outside of the medical board. And so I think it's a great thing.
It is. Okay, Tamika Turner, is it possible for us to get the number of braiders registrations for the state?
Yes, you can always email me. You can
Okay.
also do a public records request, which are available to all Tennessee residents. We are probably at 4,600.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Will there be guidance? This is Amy Tanksley, guidance to shop owners like myself to the compact license and how we are supposed to employ folks who have this license, what we're supposed to display or have certified?
Yes, so that's a great question. We are actually putting together a document that is going to not only give you the path to the website to verify if you're a shop owner, does this person really have a multi-state compact license? Because it's all going to be available to the public and online, but also we are going to educate our licensees. Effective so-and-so, you can apply for your cosmetology license. We'll have to explain why it's only cosmetology right now. To the shop owners, what to expect, what to look for. You'll be looking online at the compacts database to see that Roxana has a license in, again, Alabama, and pull me up and be able to have them, simply give their license information. The expectation right now is not printing a license. Several states have, I believe 2, stopped making it mandatory to post a license. As you all know, we do in Tennessee. Many of our other license types, we have 7 professions that we work directly with. They will not be getting printed licenses. We still will because of the need that the inspectors have to see the licenses on the wall. Right, but that's a conversation to be had. Only a couple states have pulled away from printing that physical license. There's a big cost behind that. A lot of those come back, et cetera. You know that from a shop owner. But it definitely eases our inspection, knowing that they're there. And we've been training the public. You remember way back, we did videos and recorded how to have the public know what to look for. And so at this point, we're still going to be printing ours, but anyone that has the compact, it's going to be online for them to verify.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Becky Russell, can you tell me, somebody who's previously been licensed, will they have the option to apply for the multi-state license?
You must have a home state license in active status wherever. So if you were previously, when you go to renew, the question will pop up. Our master barbers have the same thing come up. When they renew, the question about wanting to be a residential barber comes up. This is going to be treated the same way. It's an opt-in. You don't have to, but that's your time. Initial or renewal always. So if you didn't hop on with this renewal and you want it down the road, you'll be able to still always add it on.
And when will this go into effect?
We need
Do we
the
know?
money for it first. The
Okay.
database is ready. So the database is ready. We've been testing, even though we knew we couldn't release it as Tennessee. I've offered our data just so we can test it and make sure that it's ready to go. I believe the multi-state will have their online component by October or November, to where I know Alabama and Arizona will be already there. They've been charging already for it. And so that's one of those things. With us being in the red, there's no way we can sacrifice, because I don't know if of our 50,000 cosmetologists, half will jump in. We wouldn't be able to afford it.
Marquise Martin, do we see a path forward for maybe barbers being able to?
I would love that path forward. It was sad to not have the different disciplines run at the same time. But at this point, the Department of Justice no longer is in the middle of that. So the path forward would be shops hopping on board and saying, we really want the mobility for our master barbers, and we want to jump into this and have the legislation be created. It's expensive to roll out something like that. And I believe the Center for State Government did an amazing job, does the education, helps with the lobbying piece. But now that the Department of Justice, I think it's Department of War, whatever it is, all those paths have changed. The funding there to move forward isn't there anymore. So, but it can always happen. It can still be pushed. Yes, sir. Members, any other questions? I will need a motion. Yes, I will need a motion if these fees are okay, as you've reviewed them. We will also need, Joe reminded me, a separate motion to include these in the rule package. So these will move forward for rulemaking hearing. That is the point in which, of course, the public gets to see the rules, gets to know this is going to happen, gets to give us an opinion, and then we go before the legislature like we would for all the other rules. Morgan.
Monica Lemons, make a motion to accept the fees.
Lane Petty, second.
Thank you, members. We have our first motion, and this one is to accept the fee increases as presented today. Motion is made by Monica Lemons, seconded by Lane Petty, by roll call vote to accept. And if you are not in agreement, please also let me know. Ms. Susan Arnold,
Yes.
Terry Baldwin, Bernetta Carlton,
Yes.
Monica Lemons,
Yes.
David McElreath, Marquise Martin,
Yes.
Lane Petty,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Amy Tanksley,
Yes.
and Tamika Turner.
Yes.
Thank you, members. The next motion is to allow legal counsel, that would be Joe, who is our wonderful attorney, to proceed and add these fees into our rules for the next rulemaking hearing, correct? I would entertain a motion to give him that authority.
A motion to give him authority to put the new fees into Rules.
Marquise Martin, I second.
Thank you, members. A motion by Lane Petty and a second by Marquise Martin to add these fee increases into our rules to move forward for rulemaking hearing. To proceed with that by roll call votes, Susan Arnold,
Yes.
Harry Baldwin, Bernetta Carlton,
Yes.
Monica Lemons.
Yes.
David McElreath,
Yes.
Marquise Martin,
Yes.
Lane Petty,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Amy Tanksley,
Yes.
and Tamika Turner.
Yes.
Thank you, members. Ms. Russell, I'll turn it over to you in a second. I just want to make sure, since we're in new business, anyone from the public that has questions about the agenda items presented, whether they're participating through WebEx, and Dana will let us know if anyone there has stayed on, has questions, or here in person. We want to make sure that the public has a chance to ask questions or opine, and these would be the items as presented today or on the agenda. And so I will make sure that we have anyone. This is big little. Here you go. Thank you. You'll introduce yourself.
Charlene Purnell, CDRS Academy of Beauty owner. And we just want to thank you for approving our students to get their hours. And it's been a long journey to get them to get those hours. Some of them will be done once they receive those hours, some will not. But some of them should be online, but we do have two, and I just want to thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Himes. I just wanted to say thank you. I really appreciate you guys approving us. It's been 5 months since we've not heard anything, and I just had a baby, so I'm trying to start my life and start my career and not wait around to do that. So without you guys approving it, I wouldn't be able to. So I just wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Hello, my name's Amanda Harrison. I would like to say thank you. It's actually been 6 months that we've been trying to get our hours. It's been a long time, so thank you so much. We can officially move forward and not be stuck in limbo thinking that we'll have to redo so many hours that we had already done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Becky Russell, for the record, thank you so much for taking care of these ladies and gentlemen at your school. That was, we're very grateful to you for taking those folks in. And congratulations to those of you all that got your hours released. And we wish you the very best on your testing.
I had one last question. This is Amy Tanksley. Rulemaking hearing, new fees. Are we proposing the new fees would go into place for 2027?
Joe Warden, legal counsel for the board. That's obviously the goal. In order for us to have new fees effective, they have to be completely effective, approved by you all through rulemaking hearing and posted for the statutory deadlines with the Secretary of State by July 1 of next year. So as long as we beat the 7/1 of 2027, then these would be effective fiscal year 2027. So that would begin July 1 of next year.
Thank you.
That was a great question. Thank you. Dana, this is Roxana Gamusio, just checking to see if anyone has any questions through WebEx or raised hands.
No, there's no comments or raised hands.
Thank you. Ms. Russell, I'll turn it over to you, ma'am, if you've got anything else.
Becky Russell, for the record, all minds are clear. Any questions or statements from the board? We will entertain a motion to adjourn then.
Motion to close up shop and leave.
Marquise Martin, I second that.
Thank you, members. I've got us adjourning at 11:13. Motion by Ms. Lane Petty, seconded by Mr. Marquise Martin. To make sure nothing is missed, I'm going to do roll call vote. Let me know that you're ready to end and leave, I believe, in the wind and rain. Susan Arnold?
Yes.
Harry Baldwin? Bernetta Carlton?
Yes.
Monica Lemons?
Yes.
David McElreath? Marquise Martin?
Yes.
Lane Petty?
Yes.
Becky Russell?
Yes.
Amy Tanksley?
Yes.
And Tamika Turner?
Yes.
Thank you, members. Thank you for everything. Great meeting. Thank you, Joe. Please be safe going home.